Mr. Uni, would you like us to state your name for the record and walk us through the bill?
Madam Chair, members, thank you. My name is Adosh Uni, Government Relations with the Department of Education. I will be walking through the summary document that the department has provided the committee and I believe is included in your packets. You'll note, and I won't note this for each provision, but after the end of each provision, we've noted which bill that specific proposal has appeared in, including the chair's Bill 3186, as well as several other bills that were heard in committee. With that, Madam Chair, I can begin with Article 1. Article 1, Section 1 is a proposal that provides flexible language in Chapter 13 that allows but doesn't require school districts to share data on tribally enrolled or descended students with tribal nations. Section 2 requires the commissioner to consider advice from the Tribal Nations Education Committee when setting standards. Sections 3 and 4 seek to create school environments that are culturally responsive, inclusive, and respectful learning and work environments for students, staff, families, and community. And this modifies the World's Best Workforce Statute. Section 5 does the same, except by modifying the achievement and integration statutes. And that concludes Article 1. Article 2, Safe and Nurturing Schools for Every Student. Section 1 discusses requiring transmitted education records when they to include when a pupil withdraws. Section 2 defines a pupil withdrawal agreement. Section 3 clarifies that a school district or charter, when complying with its responsibility to not dismiss a student before providing alternative programming, shall engage in the pupil withdrawal process. Section 4 requires a school to report on pupil withdrawal agreements to the department. Section 5 is the language that the commissioner discussed. This is the consensus language in HF 55 around school lunch delivery and barring lunch shaming. Section 6 protects American Indian students' right to wear tribal regalia or other objects of cultural significance at graduation ceremonies. Section 7 requires charters to follow municipal contracting laws to provide better record keeping around special education services in particular. And that concludes Article 2. Article 3, Section 1. This section sets a statewide goal of 2 percentage points per year for increasing the percentage of teachers of color and American Indian teachers. Sections 2 and 3 require teachers to be evaluated on cultural responsiveness as part of the teacher development and evaluation statutes. Section 4 allows tribal contract schools to receive finance training from the Minnesota School Boards Association. Section 5 requires principals to be evaluated on cultural responsiveness as part of their evaluation process. And that concludes Article 3. Article 4, Section 1 aligns federal guidance around what a school district can require to prove age when enrolling in public schools. Section 2 eliminates obsolete language under compulsory instruction, and this waives a competency exam for instructors in unaccredited schools, as this exam we can't find records of this exam ever existing. Section 3 strikes obsolete language around the Early Learning Foundation Scholarship Program pilot sites. Section 4 makes clarifying changes to the American Indian Education Program, specifically placing the words American Indian before pupils. Section 5 includes a state definition of American Indian. Section 6 requires a majority of parents on American Indian parent advisory boards to be parents of American Indian students. Section 7 modifies MDE's requirement to provide technical assistance to include providing an annual report of American Indian student data using the state count of American Indian students. Section 8 inserts the use of state count of American Indian students for the purposes of American Indian Aid, and this is current practice. Section 9 updates an incorrect reference or statutory reference in the Achievement and Integration Aid statute. Section 10 clarifies that charter schools must follow the English Learners Act. Section 11 requires charters to follow the law prohibiting corporal punishment. Sections 12 and 13 clarify that if an authorizer withdraws before the end of their 5-year evaluation, they're not subject to an evaluation. Section 4 clarifies that entry into a charter school is free to any student in Minnesota. Section 15 clarifies that only one local education agency may organize an affiliated nonprofit building corporation. Section 16 requires MD to align rule with a law that was passed last year for conciliation conferences. Section 17 adds tribal nations to the interagency early intervention committees. Section 18 updates a reference in statute for a name change for a national association working with the blind and print disabled. Section 19 removes obsolete language around expungements that still has MDE receiving expungements for licensees. And that concludes Article 4. And Article 5 is directing the revisor's office to make necessary cross-reference changes consistent with renumbering. And Madam Chair, that concludes the walkthrough of the DE2 amendment.